9 reasons people don't take you seriously and how to make them. It's frustrating and upsetting when others don't take you seriously. It can make you feel inferior or unworthy of respect. You'll struggle to accomplish things if people don't take you seriously, overlook your ideas, or generally don't consider what you have to say. It doesn't matter if it's your personal or professional life. At some level, you need to push your own will out into the world, bring other people on board, and get things done. Let's take a look at some of the biggest reasons why someone might not take you seriously and how to address each of them. 1. You lack self-confidence. A lack of self-confidence shines through in more ways than you may realize. Self-confidence comes through in how you speak, present your ideas, interact with other people, care for yourself, and enforce your boundaries. That seems like an awful lot, doesn't it? How can you possibly control all of those things? Well, you control them by working on and building your self-confidence. People with self-confidence confidently present themselves. They don't use wishy-washy language, fall all over themselves to apologize for things that aren't their fault, dress poorly, or let other people violate their boundaries. Even though working on each of these things can help build up self-confidence, but if you find yourself sorely lacking, it would be a good idea to talk to a counselor about working on it all. It's likely to be a big project where you'll need regular help and support. Before we continue, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and activate the notification bell to receive your daily dose of knowledge. Number 2, you don't follow through. Are you an unreliable person? Do you understand what an unreliable person looks like? They are the person who promises to help out but never does. They swear that they'll show up on time but are always late. They say that they'll do one thing and then they do another thing, or nothing. They say they will call you back and let you know, but you have to call them to get the information. They borrow money swearing they'll return it and never go out of their way to give it back. A person who doesn't follow through may be perceived as a joke because these words aren't backed up by their actions. The fix for lacking follow-through isn't too complicated. Do what you say you're going to do. It's really that simple. If you find yourself overcommitting or lacking time, you may need to say no to more things. Don't agree to do something and then look for ways to back out of it later. Do the things that you commit to. Number 3, your actions do not match your words. Even though we're all hypocrites at times, no one likes a hypocrite. It appears strange on the surface, but it really comes down to how we present ourselves to the world. Most reasonable people aren't going to have a problem with you being human if you're not obnoxious about it. For example, let's say you have a coworker who goes on and on about the importance of hard work and being a team player, yet can never be bothered to actually help out. They spend an hour in the bathroom every day or are constantly on the phone. If you've ever worked with one of these people, you probably haven't taken them serious either, and rightly so. They're unreliable. The antidote for this kind of behavior is humility and living up to your own standards. Don't judge other people on what they do if you don't have to, and make sure you can walk your talk. In fact, it's a better idea not to be too ironclad on your beliefs and what you should do. You're only human. You'll make mistakes. Number 4, don't take yourself seriously. People who do not take themselves seriously do not command serious respect from other people. Take yourself seriously ties back into self-confidence. That doesn't mean that you have to be a dour, stick in the mud about yourself or life in general. It's good to laugh at yourself and not always take things so seriously, but there is a balance. Taking yourself seriously looks a lot like self-confidence. It's doing things like erecting and enforcing healthy boundaries, taking care of yourself and not undermining yourself by taking yourself down. It's also treating serious matters with the respect and dignity they deserve. Other people will not take you seriously if you turn everything into a joke, especially if you're making light of challenges or sensitivities. One significant way you can undermine yourself is through self-deprecating humor. The problem with self-deprecating humor is that other people may not know you well enough to know if you're joking or actually think that way about yourself. They may not know whether they should laugh or to get in touch with or to get you in touch with a hotline. Furthermore, the subtext of self-deprecating humor is that you are treating yourself as a joke. How is anyone supposed to take you seriously in that context? Let serious subjects be serious. Never make a joke out of people's challenges or sensitivities even if you don't agree with them, and lay off the self-deprecating humor. Yes, it can be hilarious when done well and in the right company, but too much is a bad thing. 5. You aren't honest. What does it mean to be honest? Honesty is more than just telling the truth. It's also acting with integrity, making good decisions, and owning up to your responsibilities. Dishonest people are not trustworthy, obviously. A person who doesn't act with integrity, doesn't try to make good decisions, or avoids their responsibilities is not someone you can trust. So, they're not someone you can take seriously. It's surprising how many people are willing to be openly dishonest. Someone drops a 20, they wait to pick it up and pocket it. The cashier gives them the wrong change? Well, isn't this their lucky day? Not able to help a friend as promised? No problem. Just make an excuse that shifts away responsibility. The problem is that people around you notice these kinds of behaviors, putting you squarely in a box of selfishness and mistrust. Maybe that person needed that 20 to get them enough gas for work for the week. Maybe that cashier will get disciplined or fired for their cash drawer being off. Maybe that friend was really relying on you as the promise you made to make something in their life work. The only thing you really own in life is your integrity and character. They aren't going to take you seriously. You'll want to get that right in a way that makes sense for you. Maybe it's adopting a personal code to live by. Maybe it's borrowing it from philosophy or religion that makes sense to you. Number 6, you are overly emotional or dramatic. Overly emotional people may not be taken seriously because they are perceived as fragile. Is this a fair judgment? No, not everyone is wired the same. Some people are more sensitive than others. Others have mental health problems that cause them to react to stress in worse ways than others. It's not fair that these folks will be judged and not taken seriously, but that's the way it is. The other issue is that some people take this sort of thing to avoid responsibility. It's always curious when the only time the person gets emotional or dramatic about anything happens to coincide with when they need to take responsibility for their actions. This is something that people will notice sooner or later, and then it flags you as someone to avoid, so they don't need to deal with you. How can you stop doing this? Well, if that's something that you can't control, you can just keep working on whatever issues cause you to react so strongly. That might be self-management, reducing your stress, or reducing your responsibilities so you're not spread so thin. Counseling will be a good choice if you need knowledgeable assistance in developing healthier coping skills to have more control over your emotions. And if you do have control over it and choose to get dramatic to avoid responsibility and manipulate other people, knock it off. Try saying, yes, that was my fault. What can I do to fix the problem? Instead of shirking responsibility. Number 7, you don't take proper care of yourself. Do you take proper care of yourself? Bathe regularly, brush your teeth, wear clothes that fit, wear clothes that don't have holes or faded or otherwise aged? Are your shoes in good condition? Do you get your hair cut or keep it properly maintained? Do you maintain your facial hair to look neat? Do you wear deodorant? This stuff matters. Like it or not, most people judge others based on how they look. Other people form an opinion based on the first impression that can color the rest of their interactions with you. The thinking behind it goes something like, why should I take this person seriously if they can't muster enough energy to provide basic care for themselves? Is it fair? No, most people don't choose to be unclean or unkempt. They may just be going through a hard time right there or experiencing some mental health problems that interfere with their ability to take care of themselves. It's hard to keep up with yourself when you're living with depression. Still, personal hygiene and upkeep are vital. It's just something you have to do as much as you can when you have the energy or ability to do it. A routine can sometimes help when you can't muster the energy to be motivated. And hey, you don't need to be good-looking or wear expensive clothes to improve the way other people perceive you. Just being clean, well-kept, and smelling good will put you pretty far ahead. Number 8, you don't keep good company. We are judged by the company that we keep. If you hang out with a bunch of clowns, then people are going to assume that you are either a clown or have a really poor judgment. Neither of those things requires people to take you seriously. Quite the opposite, in fact. Everyone needs to audit their social circles from time to time to ensure that they hang out with the right kind of people. Hanging out with the irresponsible or immature people is bad because because it can lessen your own standards. You don't want to be in the habit of being disrespected or treated without consideration. Make sure the company you keep is good. People are allowed to be people. They are allowed to have problems and shortcomings. Just make sure that it's not harmful or detrimental to you. Number 9, sometimes it's not you. Now, look, we've discussed some pointed topics in the article that may be very hurtful. No one really knows how to look in the mirror to see their flaws or have them spelled out for them. Not being taken seriously can be tied into several behaviors or personality quirks of the person who is not being taken seriously. However, it's not always their fault or even their responsibility. Sometimes people are just jerks who don't want to respect other people for any number of reasons. So before you go pulling yourself apart to figure out what's wrong with you, take a look at the people who aren't taking you seriously. Is there a reason you should be concerned with how they perceive you? Is this just their personality? Are they a person who is perpetually unhappy and dissatisfied with everything? If so, that may be their problem, not your problem. Suppose a person doesn't like you for whatever reason. In that case, there isn't much you can do about that except lay your own boundaries and ensure you are treated with respect. Make sure you've actually got a problem before you go tearing yourself apart to try to please someone who cannot be pleased. Some people just cannot be made happy no matter what you do, and it's not even worth wasting your energy to try.
Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to stay informed about our upcoming videos because more incredible content is on the way.